Okay. Today is March 26, 2014, and we're interviewing Theron Hughes at the Illinois Veterans Home in Quincy, Illinois. Theron is 90 years of age, having been born on February 2nd, 1924. My name is Tracy Allgilbers, and I'll be the interviewer. Theron, could you state for the recording what war and branch of service you served in?
Go over that again.
Could you state what war and branch of service you served in?
Yeah, Second World War.
What branch of the military were you in?
Air Force.
Okay. What was your rank when you came out?
Corporal.
Corporal? Where did you serve?
In the Philippine Islands.
When you were over there, did you get immersed in the culture?
Did I get what?
Immersed in the culture of the Philippines? Did you visit places and all that kind of stuff? Did you have time to do that?
Yeah, we had a number of boys that were complaining about all the time about being over there. But the rest of us, when we had off time, would look around.
Okay. Did you bring any mementos or souvenirs back with you when you came back?
A bolo.
A bowl?
Bolo, B-O-L-O.
Bolo?
It's a knife with a long blade. It's a kind of a general work tool.
Okay.
I was down at Zamboanga in the southern Philippines.
Okay. What was your job or assignment while you were in the service?
Well, I was a plotter teller in the Air Force.
A plotter?
Plotter, P-L-O-T-T-E-R hyphen. I worked in a radar filler center.
Okay. Did you see combat while you were in the service?
No.
Okay. Were you ever awarded any medals or citations, and if so, what for?
Well, Good Conduct Medal. Philippine Liberation. You're going to strain my brain here. Asiatic Pacific Medal. Oh gosh.
Well, if you think of any more, we can come back to it, okay?
All right.
Alrighty. How did you get along with the officers and fellow soldiers that you were in the service with?
Got along fine.
Okay.
Had the Good Conduct Medal.
All right. Did you ever feel any pressure, stress, or anxiety while you were there?
No.
Okay. Did you keep a personal diary of any type?
No, I didn't.
Do you have a memorable experience of any type that stands out that you could tell us about?
Well, I helped to bury some servicemen that were killed in the Palawan massacre. Palawan, P-A-L-A-W-A-N. It's where the Japanese drove American, these were prisoners from the first part of the war.
Mm-hmm.
They drove them into this sort of a ditch. Had been used as an air raid filter, and sloshed gasoline on them and set it afire. And a few of them escaped and went across the bay, Palawan Bay. Then there was a 24 that crashed on takeoff, and I helped the chaplain to bury them.
Okay. Were you able to stay in touch with your family while you were over there?
Did I ever what?
Were you able to stay in touch with your family while you were over there?
Well, up to a certain point, they would okay it, but the officers who, those who had to, I can't remember the word that they used, I had to correct all your, or censor, to censor any of your mail, would line it out. And that's that.
Okay. Did you do or have something special for good luck while you were over there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Did you have plenty of supplies?
Oh, yeah.
What was the food like?
In the food line?
What was the food like that you had?
Pretty grubby.
Pretty grubby?
Yeah. When we got to Zamboanga, we had cooked food, but, and on the ship going over, we were 56 days aboard our ship. And, on the ship it was kind of a joke that we snickered about. Chili con carne one day, chicken a la king the next day. So we knew one day what we were going to have the next one.
Okay. So this has to do with R&R. How did you entertain yourself? And were there any entertainers that came to the base that you were on or the unit you were in?
Yeah, I saw the first production of Oklahoma on Leyte. And then we saw, I'm trying to think who the entertainer that was well known, and I can't think of it.
Bob Hope?
No, that wasn't it.
Somebody else mentioned Tony Martin.
Who?
Tony Martin?
No.
No? Okay. So if you think of it, we can come back to it, okay?
All right.
Did you go on leave or travel while you were in the service?
Did what?
Did you ever go on leave while you were in the service?
No. We knew we were going to go back to the United States. We had the offer of going to the mountain province on Luzon on an R&R leave, but we said we got a choice between that and going home. We'd go home.
Okay. Do you recall any particular humorous or unusual event while you were on R&R?
No.
Did you ever, were there ever any pranks, or did you pull a prank on anyone while you were in the service?
No, but we initiated him into being I can't think what they call them, where we went below the equator. And I can't think of what we call them. They made with a canvas, they made a pool on the deck of the ship. And we're dipped in that.
Okay.
It's right on the tip of my tongue.
We'll think about it, and if you think of it, we'll go back to it, okay?
Alright.
Alrighty. Do you recall the day your service ended and where you were at?
Service ended on March 9th, 1946 at Camp Grant, Illinois. And my parents picked me up. We lived in Galesburg. I guess that's all exciting.
Okay.
We're looking forward to being discharged.
Had you fulfilled your military service at that point?
Did I prefer?
Had you fulfilled your military service at that point?
Oh, yes.
And were others discharged with you, other fellow soldiers,
yes,
at the same time?
It was a real formal discharge.
Okay. What did you do in the days and weeks afterward? Did you resume a job or start a new career?
I lived at home and worked for a grocery store in Galesburg, and then in September I entered Knox College
Okay.
in Galesburg.
So when you went back to school, did you use the GI Bill to get your education?
Yes,
Okay.
it took care of 5.5 years of my vocation.
Your college?
Yeah.
Okay.
4 years in college, a year and a half in seminary. And the rest I earned myself.
Okay. Did you make any close friendships while you were in the service? And if so, did you continue on with any of those friendships throughout the years?
Well, Joe Sirianni and Danny Holliday were a couple of bright spots in my life. I corresponded with them for, I'd say, for about 10 years apiece.
Okay. Was there ever any reunions that your group got together, or did you attend any of those, or did they have any?
I just saw Danny Holliday, spelled Hollody. I saw him once in that time.
Okay. When you came out, did you join a veterans organization of any kind?
Well, not right away, but I was American Legion chaplain for the state of Illinois for the last year I lived in Peoria.
Okay. Has your service and experiences affected your life in any way?
Well, yeah, then I later joined the VFW, and I served as state of Wisconsin chaplain, and what they call the Big Ten Conference, the same states that form the Big Ten in football. And I got up within I'm groping to describe it. Had I gone on, I probably would have been at least a candidate, if not the person who was the national chaplain. Other than that,
Okay.
I had a heart attack, and so I gave it up all night, except the meeting of a post weekly, every once a month.
Okay. Has anyone ever thanked you for serving our country, and if so, how did it make you feel?
Well, yes, occasionally I'll wear this cap.
Mm-hmm.
It tells it.
It tells the story.
You know.
My husband has a cap. He was a Vietnam veteran. Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or military in general?
Well, the thing I think about it is that when we are in it, when this country is in a war,
Mm-hmm.
he is honored to serve. We asked one important thing I attended was the sentencing of General Hola, the Japanese general who ordered the Bataan Death March.
Okay.
And he was sentenced to the firing squad, what they called well, the 3 out of 10 war crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I wish to thank the United States government for the courteous treatment during my trial. That's all he said. The newspapers had him saying all sorts of things he didn't. But with several of my buddies, we were waiting for a ship to come back to the States. So every day at 11 o'clock, if our name wasn't on a roster, then we could go off and do sightseeing in Manila. And I've always been a history buff. And, the old walls of Manila were still pretty much intact. And that's it.
Okay. Would you encourage young men and women today to enlist in the service?
Was there what?
Would you encourage young men and women today to enlist?
What about it?
Would you encourage them to do so? To enlist in the service? In the military?
Well, if the lives of my compatriots were threatened, I would go into action, I think.
Okay. Is your view of government the same before and after your years of service?
The rules of government.
Your view of government, is it the same before you went in and after you came out?
I think it has become more conservative.
Okay. What is your opinion of war or history that is taught in the school systems today?
Few of what now?
What is your opinion of the war and history that is taught in a school system today? Do you have an opinion of that?
Well, it's not a pleasant thing, and my country has to spend money that could better be spent on promoting a good life in this country.
Okay. How do you feel about how war is depicted in movies? Is there an accurate depiction of the war in movies?
Well, yeah, it's not as glamorous as the result of combat.
Okay. What is the most negative thing you took away from your experience in the military?
Well, as we were heading for San Francisco, about one day out, the cooks came up aboard the ship, which was a good ship, a regular transport ship, with sides of beef, threw them over the fantail. We said, why couldn't you have given that to the poor? He said, well, if we go in with any meat in our lockers, then can't get a full ration of meat.
Okay.
And we all, the guys that were up on the fantail that evening, condemned that. That's just an example that, you know, some people act as though there's no or no should have no qualms about doing what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the mess sergeant on a ship like that would had control of what was done with the food.
Mm-hmm. What's the most positive thing you took away from your experience in the service?
Well, helping a Filipino family who I became friendly with. They were poor. I helped to buy rice and fish for them. I became friendly with them.
Okay. One last question. Is there anything you would like to add or make a statement before we say we're done? Is there anything you'd like to say in general?
Well, yeah, I guess go ahead. Go back to what now?
Is there a final statement or something you'd just like to say before we end this? Anything in general you'd like to say about what we talked about, or you want people to know?
I think I would have done this pretty much the same thing as I did then.
Okay. All right. That's it. That's all we have.
Okay.
All right. We appreciate you coming in and doing it, and thank you for your service.
Well, thank you.